Hey everyone, welcome back to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success, and in our current climate, maximize safety while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. On today's episode of Tent Talk, we're talking with Boise Farmers Market Manager Tamara Cameron about balancing market budgets in these interesting times. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I've spent years as an on-site farmers market manager, and I'm the education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active Farmers Market Manager, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of the Farmers Market Pros community and membership group.
And I'm co-host Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer and marketing director for Farmers Market Pros.
Welcome back to Tent Talk. Today we are chatting with Tamara Cameron, manager of the Boise Farmers Market in Boise, Idaho. We met Tamara at Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, in February, way back when in-person conferences were a thing earlier this year. Wah, wah. We've been impressed by how Tamara and her team have pivoted during COVID-19 and kept their budget balanced with a variety of innovative techniques. Welcome, Tamara.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you. Sorry, listeners, you can't see it, but we can see Tamara's smiling face as we're recording. So, can you tell us just briefly a little bit about your background and how you found your way to farmers markets? I know you've been involved in this for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is actually in event organization, and I've been doing that since I'm forever, 20 plus years. And I've always loved farmers markets. I've always frequented farmers markets everywhere I've lived. And when I lived in Boise previously, I'm from Idaho. So I used to live in Boise, and then I moved to San Francisco, and then I came back. So when I lived in Boise before, I helped out with the farmers market every once in a while. And I also coordinated their performing arts at the market. And I did another program in conjunction with the farmers market called Arts for Kids, which was an outdoor arts activity every weekend all summer for kids. So we had, teachers on site teaching different projects that were sometimes food related and sometimes not, but always art. So I've been in the periphery of the farmers market for a very long time. Yeah. And then 5 years ago, I started going back and forth, working in San Francisco in the winter and working in Boise in the summer. And I managed the Boise Farmers Mobile Market for 3 years.
Oh, I didn't realize the mobile market had been going for that long. How long has that been in?
This is our 6th year with the mobile market.
Wow, great.
What is that? What is a mobile market?
The Boise Farmers Mobile Market is literally a reformatted senior van. We took all the seats out and we haul vegetables out to the neighborhoods, and we sell them in 14 different locations.
Oh, that's so cool.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah. Monday through Wednesday, 14 locations every week from Memorial Day to Labor Day. But this year, because of the odd circumstances, we're continuing through September.
Oh, that's good.
That's great.
Oh, I'm glad you're going to be out there for longer. We're always a little fuzzy about mobile markets and calling them farmers markets because you're not buying direct from the farmer. How do you manage the finances on that? Are you taking a percentage of the sales? Are you buying from the farmers and reselling it, or?
Yes, we buy from the farmers and resell it.
Okay.
And so they give us a reduced price. Our focus is to find folks who can't make it to the farmers market
Right.
and also who can't afford to purchase food at the farmers market. So they do wholesale to us for the veggie van. We call her Vanna, the veggie van.
I love that.
They wholesale to us, and then we retail to support the program.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like what Bridget was doing at the beginning of COVID when she was
True.
buying from a local farmer, and she just set it up on her porch and kind of a little mini
nice.
illegal
Yeah.
farmer's market.
Just had a little illegal kind of backyard, back alley produce pop-up.
You
But I
gotta
got
do what
it.
you can.
Yeah, that's right. I was buying it from the farmer, and it was boxed. He wasn't giving me a discount, so that was nice.
No, you were really just a transporter, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Didn't
was
you just get paid the
middleman.
occasional extra basket of strawberries?
Yes, he'd give me like
Flowers.
a flat of strawberries actually sometimes, and then my friends that bought from me would bring me little strawberry jam and strawberry scones and things that they made with the produce. So that's nice. So that's good. A little trading.
Great.
A little mobile market, though. That's really smart, I think, because we always talk about how farmers markets are hard to kind of establish and operate in neighborhoods that maybe those people can't afford to shop at farmers markets at those prices all the time. And it's hard to sustain a market in those neighborhoods. But food access is so important. So driving it over in a van, in the van, that sounds like a great program and solution.
Yeah, it's a good solution.
We just set up for an hour and people come and shop, and then so there's very little overhead. It works. And this year we've totally changed the format of how people shop the van, so they don't go inside anymore. So we have a big board that we hang on the outside that has the products and the prices, and we have one employee inside the van who fills bins with orders, and then one employee outside the van who does all the money exchange or the card exchange. And then that way nobody gets contaminated, everybody wears a mask, it's very safe. And it's also a better system than we used to have, where we used to let people go in the van. So we're actually going to keep it.
Yeah, it's funny.
go.
Some of these changes we've all made for COVID, we're kind of sifting through all of them now. I'm hearing these same kind of conversations a lot about, oh, well, we wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for COVID. But now that we've done it, maybe this is a better idea. Maybe we should have done it this way all along.
This works, and it can continue. Yeah, absolutely.
How long has the Boise Market been operating? How old is that market?
Since 2013. So I
Okay,
think
yeah.
7 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And how big was it prior, like, I hate to say normal. We're going not back to normal, forward to better. That's our theme here. But typically, before COVID, how many farmers and vendors were there, and what kind of vendor mix did you have?
Typically, we're 80 to 100.
All right, so you've got that's a good sized market, 80 to 100 vendors. Are you producer only?
Yes, we're producer only.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And we're 50% ag. We have to be 51% ag. So
Oh, wow.
we're 51% ag. We always have to have more farmers and ranchers than anything else.
That's impressive. We're farm forward markets in the markets that we personally run, but just for a large market, the fact that you've got that many farmers is wonderful in your area.
That's part of our mission. We will never not be.
That's great.
We'll always be ag focused.
Yeah, we are too, but we honestly don't hit 50%. It's at our big markets. We hit about 35 to 40, but we have to really stay on top of it and push to do that. Most of the markets in our area probably run around 25% maybe ag.
Wow, I never
Even
really
the good
thought
markets.
about that in percentage.
Yeah,
but-
percentage-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a challenge. So that's good. I mean, and of course, the trick all over the country, everywhere, is just what keeps us all from having more markets or bigger markets is just not having enough farmers.
Right.
So that's great that you've got that many farmers that are participating. And is the structure of Boise Farmers Market, is it a city-owned event? Is it independent or separate nonprofit?
We're a 501c6 nonprofit.
Okay, great.
We have a 501c3 partner who helps us raise funds. So the Treasure Valley Food Coalition is our 501c3 partner.
Oh, great.
And so that way we can raise funds through them, and then people's donations are tax deductible that way.
Perfect. So you've always had a decent fundraising arm, right? So sponsorships and friends of the market and that kind of thing.
Yes. So we're about, I think it's about 2/3 fees and 1/3 fundraising
Oh, okay.
for our budget.
Good. But you have a pretty robust board. Now, is that the Treasure Valley Food Coalition board, or is it your board?
No, we have our own board, and it's made up of farmers and ranchers and specialty food producers and some members of the community. And it's a set number of people in each of those categories. And the board we have right now is amazing. I am so grateful for them because they have been, they've been able to turn on a dime and trust me that I'm not crazy. I was like, oh no, we're going to do a drive-through. It's going to be great. And they're like, right. Okay. So they've been really trusting and they've had faith in me and let me sort of do what I wanted to do that I thought would work. And they've been really supportive. And I'm lucky to have them because they could, you could have a board that just said, no, we're not doing anything.
Well, and it's usually kind of a give and take, sort of a chicken and egg thing. You usually get a really supportive board when you've got somebody like you that's good at explaining why you want to do something and how you're going to do it. I'm going to guess that your rather robust board would not be as supportive if you really were crazy and if you were just making suggestions that didn't make any sense. So good on you for keeping them going.
Yeah. So you just took over the market manager position, but you were involved with the market for a long time before taking on the manager's position too. How were you involved with that?
Because you just became the actual manager last year, right?
Right. So last year I was interim manager, and this year is my first year as the real manager.
Ooh, lucky you.
Interim manager, yeah.
2020.
What a year.
A madhouse. You get to be in charge.
Exactly.
What did we say? Baptism by fire. We've said that a couple times with a couple guests about this year.
So last summer was wild because it was my first time managing the market, and I just felt like I worked a lot and I learned a lot of new things, and there were times when I was overwhelmed, and the summer went by really fast, and then we had this huge fundraiser on a farm, and that was, I was doing the whole thing, and I hadn't found a part-time employee that could help me yet. And so, because there literally wasn't time.
Yeah.
Time to find someone. And then I thought, we went into the fall and I found this really great part-time employee, and she's awesome and I love her. And I was thinking next summer's going to be such a breeze.
Got your plans all laid out.
I know, right? It's like, it's going to be so easy. I'm not going to have to be at the market every Saturday, and Jesse's going to do such a great job. That chance.
Boy, can I relate to
Sounds
that.
familiar.
Sounds very
I was like,
familiar.
I'm going to travel all of 2020 and kind of start to retire.
I'll stop by the market to check in.
Yeah, yep. Had all the conferences booked, a lot of travel out, and then cut dump.
And now we're here.
And it's a good thing that all those conferences canceled, because with everything else going on, of course, Bridget, who would have been on her feet, in charge at the market, is schooling her children right now. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So it's better to
exciting.
have some partners to help right now. Yeah, for sure.
I kind of wonder.
I actually used to do marketing and development for the market also. So I did that for a couple of years while I was running the veggie van. And so I've been in the periphery, knew all the farmers, all that stuff. So
that's so great to just have that on the ground background knowledge and experience, especially before a year like this, but just in general, before you get going as a market manager. It's nice to be doing those other kind of jobs that are involved in managing the market and then working your way up to the market management position. And then now I'm sure during 2020, it has been really beneficial to you because you knew the inner workings of the veggie van and knew the inner workings of how to do marketing and how to do, event planning, and you can kind of pivot and not have to learn all that stuff during a year such as this.
Yeah. No, this year I've learned 2 brand new software programs instead.
Oh, there you go.
Because y'all went to drive-through, right? When you opened this year, you didn't open in person, did you?
We didn't open in person at all. We had this plan. So we have a big music festival here called Tree Fort. And we were going to do our spring fundraiser at Tree Fort. And a couple of weeks before, I was kind of putting the final things in place, and I was going to spend a chunk of change on some stuff. And I had heard a rumor that Tree Fort wasn't going to happen. And I thought, wow, before I blow this cash, I should probably find out if that rumor is true.
I'll look into that.
Exactly. And I asked around, and the person that I thought really would know said, oh, no, that's not a thing. They're going to do Tree Fort. It's not a big deal. It might be smaller, but they're for sure going to do it. And then literally the next day they announced that they were going to do it. And I was like, oh, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So talked to the city and our central district health department, and I had 2 plans: either a walk around market with a fence where we would allow a certain number of people in and out, or this drive-through model. And the walk around model with the fence, they were like, yeah, do that. And so I got it all organized, and then literally 2 days after I got it organized, they were like, nope, can't do that.
Oh no.
Can't, too many people. You can only have 10 people in one place at one time. And I was like, well, that's not a farmer's market.
We had that, yes.
Yeah, we had that. We had you can only have 250 people in the whole market. And then it was, and this is all from one day to the next.
Yeah,
and then,
right.
oh, you can only have 50, no, 40. Oh, no, you can only have 10 people there, including your farmers and vendors. Like, well, okay, that's not going to work.
Sell to each other.
Yeah. So then we came up with the drive-through concept, and we pushed hard. I mean, the city and Central District Health were like, seriously, you got to put the brakes on. And I was like, no way, we're opening April 11th. We got to do it. You guys got to get it together. And they did. So that was really nice.
And how did the farmers and vendors respond? Were they excited? Were they hesitant? Did they kind of jump right in, or did you have to recruit them back?
They were all over the map. We had folks who said, yeah, absolutely, we trust you and we're going to do whatever, whatever it is, we're just going to do it. And then we had some who were like, we're not getting anywhere near town. We're not going to participate to start with. Totally understandable at the time, because we were as red as we could possibly be with cases. And so I had a core group of about 32 that we opened the market with. And that's grown up to, I think, 58 now. So, as we sort of proved the concept and made it clear that it was safe and nobody was becoming ill or anything like that, then some of the other vendors that had said, no, we're not interested, decided maybe that they did want to participate. And we have a really strict COVID protocol on site, and we don't deviate from it. We don't allow people on the lot that aren't in masks. We don't allow people to walk up. We stop them at the edge and ask them to please back up, and we give them a postcard and we say, here's the information, you cannot walk onto the lot. We don't even do contact with the cars if we can avoid it. They have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that literally says their last name and the time, and that's how we find their order. They pop their trunk, we put their food in, we have another person who closes the trunk who's not the person who touched the bags, and they drive away.
Wow. That's awesome. So could you just explain a little bit like how the orders go through? So customer or shoppers place an order online?
Yes. So
okay. And what platform do you use?
We're using Local Food Marketplace. And we have every vendor set up in Local Food Marketplace, and that's a food hub software. So it's not perfect for online sales, but it's worked well for us. So all of our vendors are in there. They all have their own page. You can look up food by producer or by type of food. You can look up carrots and see everybody who has carrots, like that. And then, so they shop, and then shopping is open Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. till Wednesday night at 11:30. Then the store closes. So it's a short shopping window, really, in the realm of reality. And then they pick a time. We run times through Eventbrite because it's the software we knew how to use.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, but that's what we're doing.
Because it's like a free ticket, like they get a ticket through Eventbrite.
Yeah.
For a specific time.
Yeah,
okay.
That makes sense.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
Exactly. The windows are every 15 minutes from 8:15 to noon. And we do 54 orders every 15 minutes. And so people shop. On Saturday, we sort by time. So on Thursday, we print out all the invoices, we organize the times, we sort the invoices by name by time. So they're alpha by time in little clips from the beginning to the end. And then when we get on site, we fill the orders by time. So by the time people show up at 8:15, we have 8:15 and 8:30 ready to go.
Wait, let me make sure I understand this. You're packing, so are the farmers all showing up then on Saturday?
They bring their product. We have a store.
And this is happening Saturday morning.
It all happens on Saturday.
Oh, see, I thought you packed like on Thursday and Friday. So you had, 48 hours of people packing boxes. No, you're doing this just right ahead of the people showing up.
Yeah, we get the paper in order on Thursday. We get paper in order on Thursday. Everybody brings their stuff. We have a whole store. It's divided up: meat, produce, specialty items, bakery. Then we have pickers who put an invoice on a clipboard, and that's this one person's order, and they get a tub and they go around through the store and pick up all the things that it says on the invoice. Then they give it to a bagger, and the bagger puts it in a bag. And then a distribution person comes and gets it and puts it on the tables that has the right time. And then when the cars come, they have their little piece of paper with last name and time, and the distributors locate their order, put it in their trunk, and they drive away.
Amazing.
That's
And we do that
a lot of
560 times on Saturday.
Wow.
Whoa. I have so many questions.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay, first of all, did you find it difficult? I mean, we've had this even when we just decided to start doing like online invoicing for like weekly rent. Did you find it was difficult to have farmers and vendors update their online food hub of like the inventory that they have or what they're selling? Were they the ones that update their listings, or is that your staff that's doing that?
So we set them up initially, and then we sort of taught them how to do it.
Okay. Was
We did
that
their
a learning
initial-
curve, or did they jump right in?
Well, luckily, we used to have a food hub here that used local food marketplace software.
Oh,
And that's really why I chose it, because I knew a lot of our farmers would already be familiar with it.
Oh, gotcha.
We do have one or two vendors that we just do it for them because it's easier. And they know how to put in their inventory. Like they can open their page and put their inventory in every Saturday. But trust me, there were hiccups. You know?
Yeah.
Because we have some vendors that like won't even take credit cards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
not too many anymore, but still a handful.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
a handful.
No, I just said this is how the game's going to be played, and this is how you have to play it. And then, I had people who were like, "No, but we just want to bring stuff," and I'm like, "No, that's not. This is the game.
Yeah.
These are the rules. That's how we're going to do it."
That's how we're doing
Yep.
it. So the shoppers place their orders on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you tell the farmers how much stuff to bring according to what orders are placed?
That's the cool thing about the software. It does it automatically.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. So they would
can
be
see
like,
on
"Oh,
the
someone
back end.
ordered a bunch of your carrots."
Yeah.
And so they
Everybody-
know. Oh.
Everybody gets a pick ticket on the back end on Thursday. I don't have to send it out. It happens automatically.
That's awesome.
And they can look by item or they can look by customer. It's quite cool.
I love that. Does it matter what customer it is though? Because they're not seeing the customer. They just can have that data.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So meat is by weight. So those have to have customer names on them. Any meat order is done by customer name.
Oh.
Produce and everything else, they just bring the right amount of stuff and hopefully we distribute it correctly.
So typically, when your market's running prior to all this, are you on a stall fee, kind of flat fee kind of basis, or do you do a percentage of sales?
Nope, we just do a flat fee.
Okay, yeah, we do too. So how are you funding this whole operation with all these people that are keeping track of all this data and loading and picking and opening trunks and loading trunks and all
walking
that
around with
stuff?
tubs.
Like how is this being funded?
So we are still charging like a stall fee. We're still charging a participation fee every week. And we also have marked the entire store up 10%. So we take the farmer's retail price, we mark it up 10%, and we're just clear about it. We're just like, we have to make 10% because otherwise
How
we
are you
can't
gonna do
keep
it?
doing it.
I mean, that's clearly less than a grocery store marks things up. So, and it's good to hear though that your farmers are still getting full retail price, because that's part of our concern about a lot of the drive-through and online ordering systems is we're in farmers markets because our mission in life is to make sure that farmers can be financially sustainable and can get the retail price of their product. And so a lot of these online ordering systems, when they talk about, we're going to buy from the farmer wholesale and then we're going to sell it, it's like, well, never wanted to be a produce distributor when I grew up. I wanted to.
Yeah, I never wanted to be one either, and I'm a retail produce distributor.
Yeah, right.
Not really the way to go.
Really dumb for everybody. I'm a produce distributor that doesn't make money. Woo.
Right.
Everyone's dream.
I have to do fundraisers to make ends meet.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's great. And as an event planner, I mean, the thought of like doing that as an event, as someone who like finds my passion in event planning, that's one of the things I love about farmers markets. It's like, okay, now we're working in a warehouse and putting tubs together for people, but it's still, connecting people together. And it sounds like an event. Actually, what you're doing does sound like an event with coordinating
It's an event
people
every
and
Saturday.
and times. So
Every Saturday.
just a different kind of event for sure.
Do you have any volunteers that are helping you with all of these filling of tubs and filling of orders and moving the clipboards?
I know. It's literally, we will have 93 people on site on Saturday.
Whoa, can you send some to us?
Do they
Because we are a
have
little short-staffed this
Southern
weekend.
California?
And mostly volunteers, obviously, right? I mean, you clearly don't have 93 people on your staff.
There's 3 of us on site that are paid.
Oh, and everyone's volunteer. So tell us.
everyone's
Where do you
volunteer.
find them?
Tell us where you
Well,
find them.
here's what happened early on. So we did this the first time we did this on April 11th when we got done. I was like, I almost killed our older board members.
Oh, having them help.
It was so much work.
Oh yeah.
And I think the first weekend we did 400 and some orders. And when it was over, we were just all like, this cannot happen again. We need more people. And so there's an organization that started during COVID that's called City of Good. And the first thing they did was start a volunteer recruitment system. And it's called Volunteer Local. And so they started amassing volunteers, and they didn't even know why. They just knew that they were going to need them eventually. And so they needed a place to distribute their meals, and we needed volunteers desperately. And so they said, hey, we'll loan you all of our volunteers if you'll distribute our meals for us.
Oh.
So it was a match made in heaven. We got lots of volunteers. And then after a couple of weeks, they just sort of said, here, take this over. We don't want to organize your volunteers for you. We want you to organize your volunteers, but have the software, and we'll continue to promote, and then you just deal with it. And so we have a group of over 500 volunteers that we pull from each week, which is amazing. And we never could have done that without City of Good. It never would have happened.
Am I hearing there's another software program in there?
It's
Another platform?
That's the other one that you learned.
Oh no, there's another one besides that. Yeah, it's another software program, but that has been instrumental in us being able to do what we do, because we have to have volunteers. We can't do it by ourselves.
That's
There's no
incredible.
way.
And you can't pay 93 people to be
Obviously
there.
not. From your 10% of
Yeah,
your
from your
produce.
10%.
No.
And
It's a lot of
curious
produce.
too, just because we're finally dipping our toes into volunteers, since you have such a large pool of people coming in, each week, obviously they're rotating, and the same people aren't there each week. How do you train them like on site when maybe you have so much to accomplish before people start showing up, and there's that finite time between when the farmers show up and when the shoppers show up? How do you make sure that your volunteers are like ready to go, following protocols and like in it
Not
and
screwing
doing
it
it when they've maybe never done it before or only done it once or twice?
We send them a crazy set of directions.
Oh, all right.
So we literally send them a description of what every volunteer opportunity is. So we send them a picker description, a store worker description, a bagger description. You get the idea. So we send them a really clear description. And then on site, when they arrive at 7 a.m., I gather everybody up. I talk them through any random details. Like this week we have pumpkins, and those are going to get distributed out of the front. And each one of the orders that has a pumpkin will have a yellow strip. And, those sorts of the details are endless. Those sorts of details they find out the morning of. And then if they have any questions, literally we will have a volunteer who's done it before walk around with them and show them what to do. And then we've been lucky enough to develop volunteer managers in each of the areas. So we have a bagger manager who, once I've done my thing, she gathers them up and shows them how to bag an order. And I have a store manager who makes sure that every volunteer that's in the store knows where everything is. So it's divide and conquer.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Experienced volunteers kind of supervising.
And do you
Yeah.
provide anything to your volunteers in terms of benefits, or a free pumpkin, or are you giving how are you incentivizing volunteers?
We give them coffee and treats.
Oh,
At the end of the day, we ask our farmers to send extra produce, and at the end of the day, that extra produce gets distributed to the volunteers.
oh,
That's
sweet.
cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
So,
That's a nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're giving ours market money, and we have little market dollars, and then they can shop, so that way at least the money stays with the farmers and vendors, which is good. But we're giving some kind of benefit, but we don't have 93 of them. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of volunteers.
crazy.
And did I hear in your story, as part of that story that you just told us, that you're also doing meal distribution? Is that what you just said?
we do, yeah. Well, City of Good does meal distribution, so they come and they
At the market.
At the market, yeah. It's just part of the store. It's just part of the
Gotcha.
store. They're at the store. But yes, we're doing meal distribution.
Wow.
And we're going to do trees at the end of the month, which that's going to be a wild one.
You're going to do what?
We're going to do trees. The city of Boise, I know it's the city of Boise wants to distribute 500 trees. They usually do this program where they set up in a park and people come and get trees. Well, they can't do that this year. So we're going to let them use our mechanism to give away 500 free trees. And they're not like those, I thought they were going to be those little forest trees, that you get in the little baggie. They're not. They're in 15-gallon buckets.
Oh my goodness, this will be interesting.
Well, why not?
Why not?
Get your pumpkin, get your meal, get your carrots, get
Tack
your
it on
tree.
there. One more thing to do.
Tamara, when does your season end?
Our outdoor season ends October 31st this year.
So your drive-through operation will end October 31st.
No, we're going to do a drive-through for the winter market too.
I was just going to ask you, so you usually do winter markets, right? Do you do winter markets on the same schedule as your other market, but they're indoors? We're always trying to figure out what different people's definition of winter markets is.
Yeah, so our winter market is a little more artsy and has more specialty food things like cookies and Christmassy things. And so this year we're still going to do a drive-through, and we're going to be couple blocks away at a brewery, and we're going to use their big warehouse that has big warehouse doors. So we're going to pack orders inside but still do outside distribution.
And that's your season in general, and this plan too is informed by your weather there. So your volunteers aren't snowed under.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, we can do it outside," and I'm like, "Not if it's snow."
That'll make it just a little bit too exciting.
Too exciting.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Okay, so you're going to keep your winter market going. So will you essentially be a year-round market, or when does your winter market season end?
So our winter market season is up until the Saturday before Christmas.
Okay, and then you have a break until your regular season starts until April?
Yeah, but what we did last year, we're determined to be year-round. And so what we did last year was we did pick-up pop-ups where we did an illegal farmers market, basically.
Oh, so like on your patio bridge.
Yeah. It's okay.
So I just called up the farmers, because farmers can set up anywhere. It's Idaho law that a farmer can set up anywhere and sell his goods. And so I just reached out to all the farmers and said, "Hey, how about we all meet on the lot?" And
just coincidentally.
By accident, we all show up at the same place at the same time, and I send out an email, and all our customers show up. That's a good idea, doesn't it?
Wow, what are you doing here? What do you need?
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. You need groceries and you just showed up here? Weird.
And they're here. So we did that in March, and it was super successful, and it was really fun. So I think that we are probably every other week beginning in January going to do a pickup pop-up on the lot, and we will do social distancing. Everybody will be in a mask, and will be appropriately safe for whatever is going on at that time. But we definitely want to have the feel of a year-round market.
Oh, that's good. I really honestly, sincerely feel like shopping at markets is so much safer than shopping inside at a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's drive-through or whether it's a fenced market where you're monitoring the number of people in and out, that's what we're doing here. And people are doing, various variations of that all over the country. I just really feel like everything that markets are doing is so much safer than walking into your average grocery store.
I agree. So I have a new goal for our farmers market, and that is to have a sea change where people see the farmers market as their source of food and the grocery store as a secondary source. And I think that can happen.
I really think so too. I feel like that is really our main mission and has been for a long time. We always talk about how our competition is not other farmers markets. It's always the grocery stores. We want to change people's shopping habits. So all us market managers out there, everyone listening, let's get on it, because I feel like we really can make that happen, and we do make that happen. Every farmer's market makes that happen with people to really see it as a main source.
This year can be leveraged to make that happen.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know our customers feel safe, and they love the way we're doing the farmers market, and they love the local food. I have heard from so many families that they're eating better this year. They're buying more from the farmers market than they've ever purchased before, because they're not limited by the bag on their shoulder.
True. And
I think we've developed new market shoppers this year as kind of a little bonus, little silver lining there. We're going to ask you real quick, because Justine's waving at me that we should be wrapping up. But so I did want to talk just briefly. You usually do. So I think you mentioned stall fees versus fundraisers. What you usually rely on you get about what percentage of your budget from your fundraisers?
About a third.
Yeah, about a third. So you have a big fundraiser that's usually on a farm or in a space where you come together and have dinner and that kind of thing. And this year you did that virtually. And I just saw a picture somewhere that just blew my mind. So did you actually deliver a picnic to everybody that's paid for that ticket?
100 picnics. We delivered 100 picnics.
It's so amazing.
Oh, interesting.
So then they had you had the chef's talk, right? And everybody ate their picnic online, like on Zoom?
Mm-hmm. So it was the Harvest Moon Dinner is what our dinner's called. And we called it the Harvest Moon Dinner Picnic this year. And each one of the chefs was recorded by a local videographer talking about their course. And then we had a couple of art things. We have a local woman who has done these interviews with farmers and these beautiful photographs. And so we used that. And then we talked about the farmers market. What else did we do? We showed our cool little video about the drive-through. So we had this whole online program.
And then you had an auction, right?
And we had an auction. We did, we did COVID hobby bikes, so commuter bikes. So we had like everybody's learned. So we had the sourdough bread making bike, the gardening bike, the houseplant bike.
I love that.
We had these bike mechanics who built these bikes for us, and they were all really cool and totally unique from each other. So yeah,
that's great.
And then and the online program, I'm telling you, it was a whirlwind.
Yeah, and I know you just had this. Did you do Zoom? Did you do a different platform?
We did.
You did
used
Zoom. And so I don't know if you've added everything up yet, though, but do you have a sense of how you did in terms of fundraising net versus what you used to do by all showing up in one place?
I know exactly how we did.
Oh, you were fast. Okay, good.
Yeah, we were about $3,500 short, which isn't bad.
That's not bad.
That is not bad from going from a big live event to something online.
Yeah. That's great.
Because normally we would have 30 auction items that we would do a silent auction the night of, and then of course you could do a paddle raise with people in person, and that's a whole other thing. But we just feel really lucky to have been able to do the event at all.
And you did it virtually and still charged like $125 a ticket, right?
$150 a ticket. But it was a 5-course gourmet pickup, a 5-course gourmet picnic with wine or beer.
Oh, delivered to you. What a clever idea. I love it. It's awesome.
I'm into that.
Okay, so before we sign off, we had so many more questions. We could go on for hours, but we're not allowed to do that because it's a podcast. So we'll skip over the question about what do you do in the off season, because clearly you have no real off season, so that's not relevant. But just the last thing we want to mention is by the time this airs, we will know who the winner is. But right now, while we're recording, there's a lot of suspense because in the American Farmland Trust 2020 Farmers Market Celebration, while we're talking to Tamara right now, they are showing up on that roster as first in their region, the Pacific region. We'll talk some other time about how they figured that Boise's Pacific, but whatever. and third nationwide for the most votes from people that love their market. So I think you're doing crazy when you consider what you've had to put together this year to keep going.
You deserve it.
Yeah, I think you deserve it.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to jump back on and vote for you now.
And all we need is 500 more votes, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
If we can get 500 more votes.
Okay, so we'll know when we broadcast this. We'll
just
put in a
get
little
all
vote.
your volunteers to vote.
You just need all your volunteers to vote.
Trust me, they have voted.
She's like, they're on.
Pretend you're like Chicago in the old days. Vote early, vote often. All right.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
Tamara, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you back because I still have questions on my list, so we'll have you back another time.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Good.
I'm learning so much from you. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Absolutely.
congratulations on all your innovative ideas and executing those, and on your 93 volunteers that you get.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Per Saturday.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tamara. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
We learned so much from this episode. That was great. Speaking of learning, we have some exciting news. The Vendor 101 program we've been teaching live and in person, remember when that was a thing? Since 2010, is now available online. No matter where you are, if you're a small farmer or specialty food maker getting ready to launch your business in farmers markets, or even a current vendor who wants to brush up, you can now take advantage of all 6 class modules and a live via Zoom question and answer session when you register online at vendor-101.com. If you're a farmers market manager, suggesting that prospective vendors take Vendor 101 will save you time and deliver new vendors to your market fully prepared and ready for success. Registration is now open on the Farmers Market Pros website and at vendor-101.com. We'll see you in class.
Farmers markets are all about community, not just for the shoppers, but for the operators, farmers, and vendors. To hear what's happening from people just like you in the farmers market industry in various parts of the country, or share what's happening in your area, we have terrific conversations and people sharing resources over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. Please find us there, answer the 3 qualifying questions, and join the group. You can also message us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros or send us an email at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. To dig a little deeper and support new episodes and new content, join our new membership program by going to farmersmarketpros.com and click the support button in the top right corner, then click Become a Member. Thank you so much for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcasts, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. If you are listening on YouTube, give us that thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss our next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead.